the dream to make his abilities available for the unconventional and unserved clients, the poor people. Waiting to change the general view, the architects are only for the rich people. He has worked tremendously for the lower class people. Let's appreciate that fact. Up next, we have architect Prem Chandavarkar. He's a well-known architect in Bangalore, working in the C&T Architects, and I've personally been there. He has been trained in School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi, and he has done masters in University of Oregon, USA. Now I hand over the stage to the architects.
Words. This is directly from heart. Thank you very much to NASA for providing platform to present Pune Declaration. In our understanding, this is very thoughtful, very courageous, and very future-gazing for NASA to have done this. To have provided a platform to a reflection process, on the professionals, and professional education. We are very, very grateful. We very much wanted, when we organized this meeting in November, very much wanted NASA to be present as a part of the meeting. For various reasons, NASA couldn't make it. This platform is much more great compensation for that absence. Thank you very much. Let me also tell you something very personal. Almost 50 years ago, when I dropped out from SEPT, just 4 months left, saying, I do not want to carry this degree because it does not look like dealing with this country's societal and situational problems. I did not even know. I didn't even know that there will be a day when I'll be standing in front of this wonderful young community of architects who I know are going to change the course of human settlements in this country. Therefore, thank you very much. This is not a keynote speech by Prem Chandavarkar and Kirti Shah. This is the thought process of large number of people in the country. And this is the thought process of large number of people in the world. So therefore, it is not our keynote speech, it is the keynote speech of the future. The Pune Declaration that he will present essentially is an open call to the entire community of architects of India to come together, and you are here together, to reform the profession. We are talking about reforming the profession and its system of education. So this is a call for reform. Next. The title of the meeting we organized was this: Architects, Architecture Education and Architecture Practice. Imperatives in the context of environmental, ecological, economic and social challenges in urbanizing India. So this meeting was to talk about these larger issues. And what did we do next? It was a conclave of concerned professionals. We met on 16th and 17th November in Pune. We met at MIT Peace University, and we were only about 50 participants. As you know, such changes, such reform agenda do not necessarily evolve for larger groups. So this group we thought was big enough. Why did we meet? Why was the meeting? One, the meeting was called to participate and contribute to discussions on the current scenario in architecture education and thereby in architecture practice in India. This one? Yeah. This also was to develop a more nuanced understanding of the issues involved. Sorry. This was also to appraise the efforts and initiative and responses, episodic or systematic, already underway in the country and in the world. And this is the important one, to think of ways to contribute ideas and efforts to deepen and widen healthy debate and what constitutes a more relevant system in light of a century's development, century challenges, country's social aspirations and demands of the new reality and awareness on the sustainability challenges and goals. So we were essentially trying to look at the whole system from this perspective. What was the genesis of this meeting? We're saying the genesis of this meeting, which was very small and informal, was some concerned people, architects mainly, expressing concern on the way things are in the profession, in education, and the way we do things. This was not a new concern. This is something that has been talked about for a long time. And that led to an idea to bring together some people across the country to discuss it, to see it together. And it also was said from the very beginning that even if no consensus on follow-up action emerged, the underpinning sentiments is talking, writing, saying that writing and talking is not enough. Time had come for something to be done. So this particular meeting was a call to get something moving, doing something. What was the agenda? What are students learning in the schools and colleges of architecture in the country? What are you learning? And to identify, not only talk about theory, but what is called design. The relevance of the education that you get in the context of environmental and social challenges that country is facing. How prepared you are as students for role playing in the context of massive investment in housing, physical infrastructure, economic development infrastructure, etc., in rapidly urbanizing India, which would see, among other things, a massive influx of some 250 million people walking into our cities in the next 30 years. This is going to change our country. This is going to change our cities. And challenge of managing Indian cities and towns also include improving living conditions of inadequately sheltered people in our cities. So this were the kind of large, major objectives. I'm going to go very quickly on that because Prem will manage on this. But we also had an external stimulus to do this. While we are thinking about this, we received a letter signed by 2,200 architects in UK who also demanded change in the curriculum, change in the manner in which education is given and the way architecture practice goes on. And we thought there was no way we could not respond to that. So this particular meeting also was in response to an international event which was taking place. My last thing before I hand over to Prem to make the presentation of what came out, I wanted to share with you some deep thinking that I've personally done over a period of 50 years on architecture. And that is this. Architecture as a subject, as an art form, as a science, as a sastra, is too big and too ancient to be treated with anything but respect and pride. We've got to be very proud of architecture. We've got to respect architecture. But the architecture profession, as perceived and practiced now, certainly needs a rethink, a paradigm shift. The multiple crises that includes energy crisis, water crisis, space crisis, resource crisis, ecology crisis, governance crisis, and value crisis, all this make it imperative that the architects re-educate and re-equip themselves. Both de-learning and relearning is necessary. Moreover, a degree of deprofessionalization of the conventional professional in terms of attitudinal change, client choices, and priorities. So this was the first part. And the last part was, architecture is a noble profession. In the hands of its conscience, practitioners, it's a medium to serve the people and also the environment. Service is the word. It combines both art and science. Culture and technology are its pillars. It is a vehicle to translate ideas and dreams into reality. It embraces both reality and vision, creativity and practicality. It has been there from the dawn of the civilization and will always be there. However, the way it is perceived and practiced in India, it needs to move from monuments to people, from magazine pages to practical lives, from elite to common people, from top to bottom, and from the pedestal to the ground. And then my last word is, if that happens, it would take nothing away from the halo of the profession, or its mystic, or its nobility. It will only be richer in the process. So this is the thought process that is there. And here is Prem making a detailed presentation of what we have come out with. This is for you. This is not for the older people like us. And that is why we greatly respect and admire this platform that we have to share with you in terms of what it is and what it could be. Thank you very much.
Because barring few exceptions, the dominant trends in the profession are not oriented towards what the country needs, are oriented towards the glorification of the self. At the time we are all in trouble, bear the brunt of it. So this is serious. But the country is also going to be in trouble because of the way a majority of our population is just divorced from the profession of architecture, distant from the profession of architecture. We cannot reach out to them. We have collapsing urban systems. I think you can all see the dysfunction in our cities. We have increasing environmental degradation, crises of climate change, which the profession is just not addressing. And we're just coasting on a business as usual format. So there is the real need for change. And what we are pushing to do is to create a series of long-term initiatives to work towards systemic change and create fundamental new alternatives. It's going to be a difficult challenge, but we have to work at it. So the call is for all of you all, for practices to set up working groups to look at new paradigms, at new imaginations, spread data on alternative forms of practice that are more realistic in dealing with the situation, to lobby with our national associations, our regulators, and this is where you, the young, have the numbers on your side and can make a difference, to build bridges between profession and society so that the profession is involved with meaningful engagement rather than the self-referential